Kind of a weird time in the whole set release cycle where we're waiting for Lorwyn to come out. I just finished the PowerPoint. It's up on the YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that. Um, and there's just like a few decks I've been kind of wanting to like revisit and rework in this time. It's usually what I like to do is make sure this kind of stuff stays kind of updated and looked at, stuff that I think is interesting, but before we really dive into the new brews. And I think Lorwyn is going to take a long time. There's a lot of cards that you can build in a lot of different ways, and none of them are too crazy. It's kind of a very weird set where there's a lot of stuff, but none of it seems too amazing. Except for Moonshot. I think Moonshot looks really good. Okay, so we're starting off today with Helga Keruga. This is a deck that did we win a challenge with this? I think we won with this deck. We might have got second place. Um, a little while ago, and it's one that I think is probably pretty well positioned again. This is a deck that I actually thought was like great against the whole format except for Belcher. And like Belcher was just like all of a sudden so popular and it became kind of difficult to play much of this deck. But I actually like this deck a lot against Boros. Just like having access to Leyline Scion is such a big deal. Being a subtlety deck makes you pretty good against Titan. Um, Storm with the Force of Negations is probably not an amazing matchup overall. I think you're probably unfavored against Storm, so that's maybe a bit of an issue. The Affinity matchup is kind of a big question mark for me. When I've been playing this deck off stream, I just haven't run into it. I'm a little bit unsure how good how much Leyline Scion holds down the fort. I kind of think it holds down the fort really well and can give you a big game. I think Helga's probably pretty good against them. Um, you do have Subtlety and Solitude to kind of stop the fast Pinnacle Emissary start. Subtlety can hold down the Keruga, the Subtlety can hold down the Kappa Cannoneers. It's possible we need to be playing some more sideboard cards for that. But this is actually also the first time we've ever played Quantum Riddler at this deck. I've been wanting to play close to this list. I've changed a few cards, but I've been wanting to play close to this list since Edge of Eternities came out, and I just kind of felt it wasn't the time. I don't know. It felt a little bit uninteresting to just be playing Quantum Riddler slotting into a deck like this, but it really feels like we need to be doing it. It's just such a perfect fit with the Keruga companion requirement. Its card plays amazing with Helga. Helga, pitches to everything in the deck and is also something that is going to make a bunch of mana and draw a lot of cards and can even draw cards the turn it comes down with the pitch elementals. But it's also really cool that this can just cast the Quantum Riddler off Warp early, and then it goes to Warp, and then you just have something else big to cast off the Helga later. It's just so much value. The deck is very weird where you have so much top end card draw, but you also have a lot of cheap one and or I guess mostly zero mana interaction, but also the Leyline bindings, and then also you have the cheap threat and Scion of Draco. It's like you really kind of attack from both angles. It's pretty rare to have so much grind with so many cheap spells. I don't know. Decks. We played a deck very similar to this recently. We also played Lotus Field, so your consigns and your Spider Senses could counter those. Hammer. I might want to binding like a Sigarda's Aid, so it's not binding just yet. Okay, Death and Taxes. So do I fetch a basic here, or I guess it's probably best to fetch like a non-basic since they'll have like White Orchid Phantoms and stuff. Yeah, we played a deck very similar to this. You can find it in the Mox Field with. We were playing. I was playing a Trick Bind instead of Spider Sense because I was. It's very tough when you're targeting your own Lotus Field, and you just would lose if your opponent had like Force of Negation. Might still been better to fetch with against some of the taxing stuff. Don't really know what they're doing over there. I'm gonna block. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with this attack. I'm gonna see what it is. Okay. It's been a very embarrassing 10 minutes, I guess. You don't need to fetch with Leyline. No, I want to fetch because my opponent has stuff like Avid Mind Sensor. They could have stuff like the Archon of Emeria. They could have plenty of stuff that would reward me for fetching there. Think of that. Did I say I said Avid Mind Sensor? It's I know I have Leyline in play, so I don't need to crack the fetch, but I just want trying to play around this stuff. All right, let's cut the Force of Negations. Let's bring in 2 Rough Tumble and maybe just 2 Endurance. Yeah, I like the Hammer Time deck too with Cassandra. I've been kind of wanting to play it again, and I keep looking at it, and it's just perfect. Hammer's probably great against Affinity too. The deck is pretty bad against Titan though. So we're on the draw against Death and Taxes on a mull to 5. These bindings aren't super reliable, but if we find a fetch land, we can binding on turn 2. Mulling to 5 is really tough in this matchup. I think we'll try it. There's a Ghost Quarter. And an Aether Vial. Third Leyline Binding. Okay, well, hopefully we can chop deck a fetch land. Otherwise, we're going to have a fast game to him. I don't know why the attack with Thalia to concede was so weird. Okay, so they've kept a 1-lander. Also, big top deck for us. And it is not a fetch land. So if I shock and they Ghost Quarter me, I can cast the Binding. How often are they ever Ghost Quartering me? I guess they're going to Ghost Quarter me anytime that they have a Lien and Arbiter in their hand. And so I'll want to be able to pay 2 for Lien and Arbiter anyways. So we drew the fetch land. Maybe too little, maybe too late. We'll see. Having double Sacred Foundry is kind of funny because we will definitely get to play a Binding. So let me fetch in response to this because of a possible Lien and Arbiter. And then I think I'll cast 1 Binding on the Aether Vial right now. Although I'm a little bit worried that this might impact which 2-drop they put in. And if they put in Thalia, I can't play second Binding. Okay, they put in a Lien and Arbiter. So we'll just go ahead and pass and then Binding if they activate the Ghost Quarter. All right, Death and Taxes, you got no permanence in play. All right, that worked out pretty good. Do I plan on revisiting the Leyline of Renaissance deck with the Trample, Haste, Cantrip? And I didn't even see that one. What's the card? The Leyline of Resonance deck tested really poorly, so it's not really ever going to be one that's really high on my list of decks to come back to. But I'm open to it. Don't think I want to subtlety that. We're in a very weird game, or weird match against Death and Taxes here. Yeah, every time we play this deck, a million Touch the Spirit Realms get suggested. I really think that card sucks and is kind of unnecessary. It's like, in a lot of ways, you're like, think of Keruga, and I know this is going to be weird. Think of Keruga and think of Helga as your Touch the Spirit Realms, because instead of scamming Solitude, and honestly, like scamming Subtlety isn't very good. So that card is really only good with Solitude, right? But instead of scamming them, you're just recouping the card loss with like either your free card advantage spell or your Beanstalk effect. And then you don't have to put a like, really low card quality card like Touch the Spirit Realm. Although Twinning Twins would probably be better than Touch the Spirit Realm because it's also a 4-mana creature in your Helga deck. Okay, target creature gains trample and haste till end of turn, draw a card. So I wouldn't think that this card is good with Leyline of Resonance so much because maybe it's fine, but it's like I guess you get when you copy it with Leyline, you get to draw an extra card. There are a lot of cards like this, but I guess this one's probably better than a lot of them. But for the most part with Leyline of Resonance, I'm a little bit more interested in copying. I'm more interested in copying like damage. I'm more interested in copying like a big pump spell to try to kill my opponent because you don't really want to be playing like a grindier game where you have like a lot of 1-mana draw 2s. I think it's probably too fragile. All right, so they pitch an Ephemerate. Hands off my hippo. Giving the big double striker trample haste is pretty good. I mean, sure. I just could like never even like stick a stupid creature when I was playing those Leyline of Resonance stacks. Well, let's keep this. Put on some a Mold of 6 on the play. Could feel it coming. So if they don't take the Scion, we should be trembling and quaking in our boots here a little bit. Right. Good to know that the Thoughtseize bug is alive and well. I guess I'll get Hallowed Fountain just so I can cast Helga if they like to fairy my Leyline next turn. Obviously, we're hoping that we're playing against a sewer deck or Esper Blink instead of Esper Gorios. We're like really good against Esper Blink. Esper Gorios is tougher. If Twinning Twins is your better option for anything, I think you just pack it in. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's why we're not playing either. When it gives me the sad face, I'll hit him with the happy face. Turn that frown upside down. So no blue mana. So I mean, I would love if this was just a black-white deck. So they fetch main phase. What are they holding up? Velia, maybe? Velia, Bowmaster, but for 3 mana? I don't know. Let's attack first. Does kind of sting to lose the Riddler, but I think okay, the Riddler bug is alive and well. But with a Keruga available, I think it's fine to subtlety this. Why did I talk about the Behold Green Sun that seems really good for allies? I think the card's unplayable all the time. That's why I didn't talk about it. It's like I don't think it's really good for allies. I think that like even if that card was just like 3 mana search for an ally, or like or if it was just if it didn't even have the Behold restriction and you could just search for an ally, I don't know that I would be that interested in playing it. In allies, you have a lot of redundancy. In allies, you need to be very mana efficient, and then like just the fact that it's not a card that allows you to get a Dryad Arbor turn 1. Like a huge part of the reason why we even ever consider playing Green Sun Zenith in decks is because you have that bare minimum of being able to get Dryad Arbor with it. And without the ability to get Dryad Arbor, it's like I don't know, it just seems really uninteresting. All right, I think we spend Helga mana so we can put Keruga into our hand, potentially. Okay. So we do get punished because we could have cast the Solitude, I guess. Not the biggest deal, still pretty ahead, although they do get the Rebound Ephemerate. Streamer privilege is going hard this morning. Maybe. I had a chatter who said, like, basically said this play was so embarrassing, I would just drop the league after game 1. And then I got so embarrassed, I accidentally dropped the league after 4 matches. I was 3-1. I guess that's just maybe that's not a streamer thing. That's just my brain not being normal. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I really think that and then also Beholding 2 is huge. It's a huge cost. Beholding 2 is like it costs it's so much. Like even in an ally deck, you're just not always gonna have it. It's gonna be so bad when you don't have it. Yeah, you would play Court of Calling over that card in allies. I agree. It's just It's just not good, I think, that card. Alright, so they do have a Witch Enchanter to stop my Leyline Scion. Do they have like a Solitude for my Helga here? I think they do. Okay, I guess not. I guess I get pretty punished again. I think they have Consign. Does Esper main deck Consign? I guess I can go Steam Vents into Scion into Solitude. So if they had Consign, they might have also replicated here, since it would have countered the Helga trigger and the Scion itself. Didn't discard Goblin? I like the discard Goblin. You can find my thoughts in the PowerPoint on it, but I like that card a lot. Just thought their tapping was kind of weird. Yeah, maybe. I do think once you cast the Scion there, you can kind of rule it out, though. All right. Force of Negation stopping Riddler Ephemerate's kind of okay. It can hit to Fairy post board. Basically nothing else, right? Like, honestly, these games do get pretty grindy. Sometimes you will want to endurance yourself, but I don't think we care that much about that. I've been playing against Boris with this. Not today, but the Boris matchup is usually pretty good. It's usually pretty good. When we got second in the challenge with this, another version of this deck, we beat Boris a bunch. It's a lot better if you know that you're up against Boris and you can mulligan to Leyline Scion, because they're really soft to Leyline Scion these days. Okay, so on the draw against Esper Blink, the not very functional hand in a slow matchup where you're really incentivized to not mulligan. I think this hand is probably a keep. I know it, like against Esper Blink on the draw, it's just so good to keep 7, and then like any land, any white card is good. We have Force for Riddler Ephemerate. They are Thoughtseize deck. You just want to keep 7 against Thoughtseize decks. That's not how the Thoughtseize bug is supposed to work, Scion of Draco. Overlord, Witch Enchanter, Emperor Bones. Pretty good hits here. Not feeling great. They return the Emperor. Good pickup. Honestly, if we draw almost any card besides second Scion, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I think literally any card. Damn. Most of our multi-6s aren't going to be very good against double Thoughtseize, though. Emperor Bones is another card that can work with the remove counters card. Yeah, we had at least I guess with the some of the other remove counter stuff we had that mentioned. They took Nissa, which is interesting. I thought for sure they would take the Solitude. I like that we have the binding for the Overlord. We have the white card for the Emperor of Bones. So we'll see if they mess up and target their Overlord here. They target my Riddler, which I guess doesn't matter that much. They've already played a land this turn, so I don't need to like worry about them playing a land. Second main phase. Actually, maybe I should be... I guess I need to be Solituding now so that I can force back, although... I kind of want to pitch the Helga so I can binding the Overlord. Let's actually just try to draw a land for Helga, I think. A little bit worried about Ephemerate, too. I did draw the land for Helga. So do I main phase this? Not main phasing is kind of bad against them drawing a black source. Both are kind of bad against Ephemerate. They definitely could have Ephemerate in their hand. Okay, I think if they just draw a black source, then we'll Feel kind of bad, but currently feeling kind of bad. Alright, so now they get to crack the fetch, and Emperor of Bones, a Riddler into play. Do I want to Force of Negation Dreams of Steel and Oil? They didn't activate the Emperor. So it seems like maybe they have a removal spell for Helga, so let's maybe not Force of Negation the Dreams. They take one of my 2 Scions, and they've got 2 spells in their hand. This Overlord's coming back to life pretty soon. Then they warp a Riddler with 1 card left in their hand. I guess that's this. I would have taken more damages if they adapted the Emperor, but they draw the same amount of cards, so I guess that makes sense. Best to float blue because of Quantum Riddler, right? Good draw. Feeling pretty good about our spot despite this Overlord still being kind of scary. Fetchland would be an insane draw next turn. They do keep a card on top, so they've got 4 cards they like about. They know I have a Force and a pitch card. They don't know about the Subtlety and the other pitch card. Maybe this is just cast the Riddler from Warp. I think I'm pitching the Helga since I've got the Scion in my hand. Okay, so we found the binding for the Overlord. They do put the Riddler back on top. So I was really hoping to draw a land, so I could at least play like Leyline and then the Scion. Any land if I draw off Riddler, I get to... Or I don't have to binding. Right, I can still binding. I could also draw... I think I'm going to get greedy and just draw my 2 cards here. And I think most of the time one of them is going to be a land, and if one of them's not a land, then it's also not the end of the world. And one of them was a land, what do you know? Get in for 4. Pager with the 3 months. So much for the ADHD frog. Is that Helga? Kind of hard to not just subtlety anything. Seems like this is fine. Especially with Force in hand for like a sweeper. Really don't have to force like Ephemerate on the Riddler. Right, they do put a card on the bottom. Draw me 6 cards. I think we're going to be 2-0 again. Maybe the drop will be a blessing in disguise, huh? Let's keep this. Sleeping on Sunderflock? Art-wise or card-wise? I think Sunderflock's interesting. Grub's command with Gravecrawler combo? With Gravecrawler? Isn't... Wait, is there a zombie command? I know there's I only talked about the goblin, the merfolk, and the elemental command. Damn it, Spike! I just started your PowerPoint and the opening line is so gold. Man, I recorded that at the very end after my voice was like I don't know. I felt like I phoned it in, so I'm glad you liked it. Wait, why the goblin command in Soul Trader combo? I mean Soul Trader's a goblin. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. Sorry about that. So we're up against Neoform. Neoform's a good matchup. We got 4 forces, 4 subtleties. Loki, you think this guy is going to be the most impactful card for Modern Hexing Squelcher. So what are your thoughts on Hexing Squelcher? Like there are very few counter spells in the modern format right now. And there's a lot of life gain in the format, and there's a lot of combo decks that ignore this card. There's a lot of removal that just still trades for this pretty favorably. What deck do you see Hexing Squelcher going in? And like what archetype do you think it powers up? What decks is Hexing Squelcher good against? Because it's in my mind, it's mostly not good against any deck, which is a tough sell, of course. All right, put Keruga in my hand here. Yeah, there's like the Riot Spider-Man. Like that card is like... Wait, people played the Riot Spider-Man? I mean, I think almost no one played the Riot Spider-Man. I think the card saw like no competitive play. Like maybe like a one-of in Storm, right? But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you're like... The Riot... I mean, maybe I'm misreading your comment, and I'm not trying to dunk on you or, you know... I'm trying to genuinely have a conversation like always, but interesting that you're like... The Riot Spider-Man was bad. This card's a slightly better version of that. Riot Spider-Man turned off your counterspells too? Yeah, I mean, what deck are you envisioning playing counterspells with that would also want this card? Genuinely asking, of course. Alright, you got a Pact of Negation? I think I might keep the Hand Hider up just because this is a matchup that really, really punishes us if they can see my hand. Like I really need them to play into my stuff. Alright, so I'm going to bring in 2 Disputes and probably go down 2 Omnaths. Or no, sorry. Scion of Draco is the weakest card, right? I don't really have anything else to bring in. Force of Vigor hits nothing. Charmaw does nothing. Durance does nothing. I think Spider-Punk would have been better with the Ring Legal. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mavs stink. I bet big on them last night to let me down big time. You know, I think sports betting really ruins like the purity of enjoying it. I agree. I mean, I agree it's rough right now. Although the thing is, you also have like 6 injured players, 7 injured players. Got 2 more injured last night. It's just, do we stink or do we have nobody healthy? Okay, they're on a Multi-6 here. But yeah, there might just be something I'm missing on that 2-mana goblin. So if there is, I am genuinely curious. Yeah, it can also ruin your life. That's true. But, you know, I've been getting really into basketball, but I'm really going to just not gamble on it ever, just because I think it's going to sour my my love of the game. Letting Luka go is the biggest flop. I mean, for sure. At a certain point, you can only harp on it so much. I really like a lot of the players on the team. I like almost all of them, and I'm gonna keep liking them. Wait, what? Sideboard Ice Fang. Interesting. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think there are many Lorwyn cards that would be good for modern. I mean, I think that's fair. I think there's a lot of cards that are like considerable. Transformative sideboard, huh? I'm shook here. I feel like Moonshadow is much closer to Champion of the Parish than it is Death Shadow. It's not really comparable to the card Death Shadow, I agree. It's a black 1-drop and it has Shadow in the name, but Death Shadow isn't a good card. The fact that you can cast it turn 1 makes it so different. But that being said, like it's like a Champion of the Parish, but you have like all your ways to trigger it are 0 mana, and also has Menace. I think everyone's gonna listen. In 1 month, every single person in this chat's gonna be like, "Wow, Spike, the Menace on Moonshadow is so good. The Menace is such a big deal." In 1 month, you're all gonna be saying that, but Just know it's currently a big deal before you realize it, I guess. I don't know. But before y'all start going, oh my gosh, the menace is great. There's also just the fact that it gets triggered on all these 0-mana effects. I think comparing it to Champion of the Parish is probably not the best comparison. I think I'm gonna Solitude now. I'm a bit worried about Pact. Because next turn they could just pay for Pact. Then here they've tapped out of Dispute as well. I wonder if do they even still have the Allosaurus Riders in their deck? Did they like completely transformative sideboard plan? I don't know. So they do have some Allosaurus Rider stuff still, in addition to the Neoforms. I'm gonna obviously Subtlety this. I'm gonna pitch the Keruga. Then they dispute me. So do they have a Neoform as their last card? Cool. So let's just go ahead and go to game 3. Yeah, I don't think seeing Oculus and Ice-Wing makes me want to play like Endurance, but I think we just still have plenty of good removal spells for these cards. I'm not actually sure that they were supposed to transformative sideboard plan because I just have so much removal. But at the very least reasonable. Alright, I'm keeping my 7 on the play. They mold a 6. They graveyard a Summoner's Pact here. 4 cycles. Grab a Hedgemade, Surveil. Keruga in hand, pass. Reveal an Omnath here. I'm going to play a Helga. I'm going to pass the turn. Maybe they'll dispute this. We'll see. They let it go. Graveyards and Eldritch Evolution. Feels like this is the big critical turn. Or do I imagine my opponent just does nothing here? Yeah, I have the hand hider because one, my opponent took like a minute to show up, so like that's always a little bit of a flag. Not that they're very likely to ghost, but if they are ghosting, like the percentage points is just crazy here. Like being able to see my hand in this matchup is like unbelievably relevant compared to a lot of other games. So for my own sanity, I just want to have it up for this game. Oh, why does it go over the graveyard? I don't know. I feel like I somehow absentmindedly, like maybe when I pop out the graveyard, I accidentally make this bigger. Like in this spot where if I have an opponent who's gonna tank for like 3 minutes and they know exactly what to play around, it's like it's the psychic damage is pretty is pretty real. So they play after a bunch of tanking, they play a Misty Rainforest, then they float a blue mana. Any thoughts on Tam Mindful First here, the hexproof against your own colors card? There could be some kind of weird combo with that I'm not seeing. Like it is pretty difficult to turn your own thing into things of all colors. I guess it's not. You just have Leyline of the Guildpact. But it's like Giver of Runes is not very good in Modern right now, and that card is like significantly worse than Giver of Runes. So Didn't really seem like it was worth talking much about. Okay, resolves. Well, was not expecting them to just do that. Maybe it's kind of crazy with Guildpact. I don't know. Is it? Oh right, sorry, I can't cast Nissa off the Helga. Sideboard card against interaction for domain. I mean, there's just like no way, right? Like it's just much worse than Giver of Runes, and Giver of Runes is not currently seeing any play. Do you think 4 Simic Evoke elements will go in the main for living end? I do, yeah. I do. Maybe also 4 of the. You probably just start off with 4 of each of them and just see how they play, and then tweak the numbers. It has a lot of synergy with Scion when you don't have Leyline out. I mean, that's true. I don't. I just really. I don't believe in this card. I don't think that it's going to be good. All right, I'm going to discard the Nissa here. So it begins. Can Helga? Yeah, you can spend mana for like a warp. You can spend for like Foundation Breaker. Quantum Riddler does work. I think we have played Foundation Breaker before. Usually you want to play Force of Negation instead. All right, well they just let that happen. They pitched a Eldritch Evolution and a Galta. I guess I could take the hand hider down, because if they see my hand, they'll just concede. Oh, maybe not. If I just draw all lands, huh? I don't think I have many fetchables left. 5-0 split the finals at Tuesday Night Modern with Green Sun Enchantress. Nice. I do think that deck's pretty underrated. Were you playing Seam Rip? Why did discard 2 mana sources? Was it not always discarding 2 lands here? What are you talking about? I've been cyberbullied too much today, okay? Yeah, you want to keep a fetch land for Omnath. We have at least 1 fetchable left, right? Yeah, we have the Zagoth Triome. All right, well, let's get another trophy prediction going. All right, keep this in the draw up against a Marsh Flats. Yeah, it did kind of feel like we were due for Boros, huh? I do think you got to subtlety the Ragavan on the draw in these kind of spots. I wonder if I would have kept this hand if I knew it was Boros. Probably fine to keep on 7. They do put the Ragavan on the bottom. Then they get a basic plains off the Sacred Foundry or Arid Mesa, and then they hit me with a Ragavan again. Also was actually probably better to get Zagoth Triome before the Ragavan hit me, because it is a big disaster if they flip the Zagoth Triome there. I kind of like doing it this way. This instead of going blue white red white surveil into Zagoth Triome this turn. We get a surveil that way, but this line lets me get basic plains and basic island against a Blood Moon, which is maybe not going to be enough, but it's at least a plan. Concepts of a plan, if you will. So not going to be able to Blood Moon me this turn. Now, the Helga is pretty bad. I mean, also drawing a second Helga whenever we pitch the Omnath kind of stinks. But the Helga is also particularly bad into a possible Flage next turn unless we draw a Solitude or a Subtlety. They can also just have Discharge. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cycle for basic island, and then I'm just going to probably put Keruga into my hand unless I draw Solitude or Subtlety. Okay, I don't draw Solitude or Subtlety, but I do think I probably want to not pass up on the ability to get a basic planes. Again, Keruga in hand's way better against Flage. So you got a Najani, you got a Bombardment too. They have a Surveil. Puts a Flooded Strand in the yard, and then does not have a Bombardment, thankfully. So Solitude or Subtlety, Binding, all really good draws. Surveil, not such a good draw. Oh no. Sorry, I didn't realize we couldn't cast the Helga if I play the Surveil land here. Might end up working out okay. We draw like a Scion into like a Solitude or Subtlety, but probably should have played the Helga here. There's a guide. Mountain. Does it feel like it does feel like they have a removal spell in their hand? So I can't go Helga into Quantum Riddler. So I think we just Keruga. Just survives Discharge and Flage here. Yeah, I'm really excited for Meek Attack Agent. I really, really, really hope it's good. Well, digging for a Flage. Illusions to 55, good to see ya. Thanks for being here this whole time. When a graveyard's a Voice of Victory, then we'll attack with probably just the cat. Which let's not block. A lot of insane top decks. Don't know what I'm rooting for most. Maybe just Scion of Draco. Yeah, they do seem to be flooded, although I expect that they have a Galvanic Discharge in their hand, probably. I think their hand is Galvanic Discharge land, probably. It's either that or land. So I expect this to die here. I can't force because it's my turn. Okay, great. Obviously, living is better. What's the Hamilton line? Winning is easy. Dying is harder. Dying is easy. Living. I think dying is easy. Living is harder. Is what I'm thinking of. It's crazy that they're this flooded and it took them this long to get the second Surveil out. I mean, crazy is not the right word. Just kind of interesting. How do we feel about a block now? I don't think I feel that good about it still. Yeah, I think I'd rather have like the Riddler in play. We're gonna gain a little bit of life off the Helga. We might find a Solitude off the Nissa. What about a short trophy race for charity, like 12 or 24 hours? Get other streamers involved. Collective donation at the end. I've thought about it. It's usually like I usually would want to do that at the end of the year, kind of when there's a lull, and I usually just end up doing Cube for charity instead. But I mean, I'm definitely open to the thought. It's possible that, like at this part of the cycle where there's just a little less to do, it'd be a good time for it. But definitely open to the idea. I've wanted to set up a trophy sprint for charity a few different times, and it's just never really felt like there's been a great time to do it, but always kind of an okay time to do it. All right, Helga really popping off. I think we just hold up the Solitude, right? The 1 life on the Helga might not look like that's that big a deal, but like I've gained 4 life this game, you know. All right. Well, thankfully they got super flooded, and you know, mana. I guess we weren't mana screwed. We were also just kind of stumbling. How is this in your hand, dude? How's this in your hand now? I guess maybe they just drew it, but like they there was a window for them to kill the Helga. So I think we just Solitude the Guide of Souls and attack the Johnny now. I guess if their last card is somehow second discharge. Okay, no, they just concede. I suspected I had the whole time. Well, I suspected they had it the whole time, and then when they didn't discharge my Helga, I ruled it out, which I think made sense to rule out. Okay, so let's cut the Force of Negations. Let's bring in the Rough Tumbles, and then I've been kind of like waffling a little bit on the Endurance Force of Vigor split. It's like one of the ways you can lose this matchup is Blood Moon, but if you have a Leyline of the Guildpact, you don't really care about Blood Moon almost at all. And so maybe we'll do 2 Endurance, 1 Force. I don't know. Endurance is not that good against them. It's not that bad either. Okay, let's do second Force of Vigor on the draw, and then on the play we'll swap these numbers around, since I think we're just weaker to Blood Moon on the draw. Your inside joke about Ed's dead? Yeah, whenever I say Ed's dead to Esther, I say it in the Pulp Fiction tone, yeah. Wait, this is 61? How did I do 61 again? I don't know what's wrong with my brain in general. Like what type of neurodivergent I am, but it's fun, whatever type it is. Main phase better against Wear Tear, and it's better against Mana Tithe. I've been getting Mana Tithe enough that I'm kind of done playing around the Dash Ragavan. Now we do kind of need to draw a basic if we want to be not super cold to Blood Moon, or a fetch land for a basic. I guess we pitch the other Solitude now. Any thoughts on updated quantum energy? I think that the one Momo that we were testing tested pretty well. Okay, obviously we're kind of losing all of our action, but this is part of the joy of having Keruga. I will, I think, just get the basic island instead of surveilling. Yeah, so I think the first Momo is good. There have been some chatters who said they've tested more than one Momo, and that they've felt that more than one Momo is also fine to play. No room for Wanshitong. Yeah, I don't think that Wanshitong is super good in quantum energy. You can play it. Maybe the first copy is good, and then additional copies are bad. I could see that being the case. No. No! Every day I get Mana Tithe. Why not buy Keruga so I can cast Endurance and block the Ajani? And then maybe the Keruga will draw me an extra card because Endurance is in play. Alright. Surely we don't get Mana Tithes a second time. I don't know that it's obvious I have something because I didn't buy Keruga. They do keep a card on top. All right. If you want to think that my opponent just maybe has nothing at all, it's possible to block the Pride there and then attack the flip to Johnny. All right, amazing top deck. They did keep a card on top. So Taro's good with the pitch elementals. Well, we say all the pitch elementals. Then banning Grief was a big problem because that was the one Satoru was the best with. But I mean, definitely not bad with pitch elementals. We played some Satoru, Esper lists. You came right on time, Scion of Draco. Keruga is pretty insane. I mean, I'm not going to say no to an Omnath. I might play Omnath before Keruga. We'll see. It's just one more card when we do Keruga, and then it'll give me my mana back post Keruga because we'll probably draw a fetch land. But maybe I feel like I need to draw some interaction right away. I guess it's probably better to play Keruga because they're just like, I'll attack for 7 this turn, then I'll play Keruga, and then if I can hold up interaction, I'll just kill them with my flyers. Am I dead? I don't think so. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm. Well, the thing is this attack good? Because they reduce the amount of damage the Ajani deals. So I block both 2/1s, and I take 3 down to 14, and then the Ajani is... Yeah, I guess this deals 1 extra damage than it would be if it didn't. You think I'm dead? I don't think I'm dead, y'all. Maybe I am. So I go down to 15. They flip the Ajani. They hit me for like 6 more, then like another 4. I think they need to have something else. They had to flip a Johnny before attacking. Yes, flipping a Johnny before attacking is more damage. Maybe I did die if they did that. So yeah, I'm down to 7, and then yeah, I think actually. Well, the thing is that they would maybe I'd be going to 1. I mean, I'd either be going to 1 or I'd be going to 0. Let's just attack. I guess it's better to send like this because they could actually deny the life gain if they like killed their own Ajani. If I sent both there, and there's not much reason to send both, I guess. So we go to 7, and then they're at 6. They can Flage to survive. Let's just see if we find like a Solitude or a Subtlety here. Just draw 4. Yeah, I'm not sure if we would have gone to 1 or 0 there, but it was one of the two. All right, we didn't find anything relevant. Your turn. Maybe I'm dead to another Ajani. It looks like they only have 2 left in the deck. Not sure. Don't really need to waste any brain energy counting here, though. Does the Vivid 2-drop with Tribal Flames go right into Zoo? Are you talking about... Explosive Prodigy? This one doesn't target players, which is, probably means it's a conversation. And Zoo, it's kind of, like, only good if you have Leyline in play. I feel like I would rather just play Tribal Flames, which is not a card that Domain Zoo is currently really playing, right? You remember when Planeswalkers were modern playable? Yeah, I always kind of think it's funny when Planeswalkers were playable and... Like, there were always, like, some old heads who were like, Planeswalkers were a mistake, brother. Magic fell off when they printed Planeswalkers. Like, there still were some of those around from, like just, like, the whole time since Planeswalkers got printed. People have been salty about them. They have lethal. It's gonna be actually kind of close, huh? No, I think not that close. Not oh. Yeah, no, this is just 1 extra damage, but it's... So I go to 10, and then I take 3, 7, 6. I think I go to 1. Okay, so definitely worth for them taking the time here. I think we go to 1, right? Maybe I've miscounted, though. Seems like they could have killed me if they had flipped the Ajani pre-combat, like y'all said. But yeah, then I go to 7, and then they just get 2 more tokens, right? So I go to 2. Okay. So let's play an Omnath. Not out of this yet, still, because my opponent has the ability to find another Ajani. In fact, although I guess if I go gain 4, then I fetch, go down to 10, up to 4, 14. Yeah, no, I guess I just don't play a Riddler, and I focus on gaining as much life as possible. Like attack with the Keruga here, just like let it die to the Flage, but we get to gain 5 life. And then I think we're just not dead to Johnny at this point. This block kills them, so we'll see if they figure that out. Okay, they messed up. That's trample. Could have just blocked with the Flage. And we're 4-0. Last seen 14 days ago on Belcher. If this is Belcher again, that's so brutal. It's our worst matchup. Playing for the trophy. I think I'll mulligan just in the blind. Okay, we'll keep this. I'm not necessarily thinking they're playing Belcher, but I think I'll just keep this and put back the Scion. Okay, glad that they're not playing Belcher. Did you miss a deck tech for this? Yeah, we always do a deck tech at the beginning of playing a deck, so you could rewind to the beginning of this stream because it's the only deck we've played today. Leyline of Guildpact and Earth and Allies. What is Earth and Ally? But again, like, no, I'm not saying unban Oko. Oko's like awfully designed card. Let's just leave it dead. But Oko was always like less. It was always less oppressive in Modern than it was in Standard, Pioneer, Legacy. Oko was better in Standard, Pioneer, Legacy than it was in Modern. Let's really hope this is Neoform again. This creature gets +1/+0 for each color among allies you control. Nice. Is I guess Leyline is probably not legal in Standard anymore, is it? Still could be Neoform. Sometimes they splash white, but probably not at this point. Could be the mirror. I guess we weren't playing this. Jeskai Ascendancy for the trophy. I guess it could be. Okay, they get Neoform. Okay, never mind. Well, my hand's pretty good against Neoform, thankfully. Oh, it's still in Standard. Cool. Do I put up the hand hider? Because it's like, this is, maybe it doesn't matter right now because my hand's not hidden. But it's like we played against this matchup earlier, and I was taking a lot of psychic damage because my opponent's like, obviously when you play Neoform, you're going to think a lot. But this is a matchup it's so brutal. It's so brutal if your opponent knows your hand. In this spot, it doesn't really matter. But maybe for my own sanity, I'll hold it up. Although, if my opponent also just loses here, it'll be kind of clear they're not ghosting. So there's that. But I'm glad that this does seem like our best matchup, maybe, so we have at least that to be thankful for. So they're going to get a Gristlebrand. And then just classic, do they have a Pact in the top 14 cards? They Surveil now. I think I like Solituding on their instep, so if they have to discard more. Okay, well now we're going to Solitude. I think I pitched the Solitude so I can Keruga to have a pitch card for Subtlety. It does feel bad to have the Force of Negation and just not the other blue card to be able to beat this, but, you know, turn 3 with Pact Up is always kind of tough. So they draw 7 in response, as you would expect them to. Let's see if they found another Shoal. Maybe they found another Pact. I mean, if they find another Pact of Negation, like they'll have to Pact here. Was there a reason Body Double wasn't mentioned with Sneak Attack? Well, I mean, I don't think mentioning any clone is that relevant because they just all work, right? This is just a clone from the graveyard, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's like you could Sneak Attack any clone into play. I mean, this one is maybe a little bit better, but it's I don't think like you need to mention every single clone. Okay, they're still thinking here. It's not a clone. Well, it's a clone from the graveyard. I don't know. I don't know that it's that interesting. Only one that copies graveyard. Well, I mean, the only one that you can Meek attack in that copies graveyard, but there's a few other. You could put it in the deck. Like, I don't know that you really want to play this card instead of just like 4 Mimic, 4 Glassful Mimic, 4 Agent of Treachery, but maybe your Agent of Treachery will die and you don't have the mana because Meek Attack is so mana intensive. You want to copy another one in the graveyard sometimes. So I wonder what they're thinking about. I guess maybe they're going to think about playing another Rider. Seems like they probably have Consign if they're in the tank here. Hopefully they're thinking Is there any way for me to draw a consign? Okay, they've cast a third Summoner's Pact, and they play another Allosaurus Rider. So I get punished for pitching the Solitude, I guess. If I draw a Force of Negation, I could Force of Negation one of the consign copies. HES for the 6 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Also, sometimes in these kind of games, they just draw all their big stuff. Not that that's what's happened here necessarily, or likely. Prime with the 33, Shaka with the 53. Welcome back, y'all. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm excited for the Just Guy Twin deck. Lorwyn is going to be really, really freaking exciting. Yeah, someone mentioned Famished Worldsire. They mentioned it before the before yesterday too, but they mentioned it again today. I don't know about Famished Worldsire, y'all. I don't know. I don't know if that's it is a way you can build a deck. I feel like I'm not that excited about it. What what was all this waiting for? Did you forgot you had these pact triggers? I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just confused. Okay, well, we are up. So this version of Neoform is different. They're trying to win immediately with Thassa's Oracle. I guess they're a hybrid because we also saw Urini, so they're not just like traditional Neoform. Is there any? I guess like if they have not damping sphere, the one that's like you can't cast spells on your opponents unless you pay 3. Force of Vigor isn't like good against that either. All right, let's just run it this way again. I wish I could play more Mystical Disputes. Maybe I can, but the Rough Tumbles just feel kind of important. I think the 4 Charmaws are important. The Endurances are really important. Just like everything's so important. It feels like these are just kind of the ones you can compromise on some, especially because these matchups are so good. Yeah, Defense Grid, thank you. And we also have Binding for that. And we don't even know that they're playing it. They're probably not. Could be. They might Glittering Wish for Teferi. You also sell out of the Tron matchup. Maybe. I mean, Charmaw's just really good. Isn't Labman better with Griselbrand? There's like a convoluted thing they do with the Oracle. I can figure it out. Every time this question comes up, I have to like mentally figure it out instead of just remembering. Maybe not the best way to do it. I guess we can keep this. It's like they'll go to their instep and then the World Spine, and assuming that this is what they're doing, and I'm assuming that they are because they have Oracle. They'll go discard World Spine Worm, put the trigger on the stack. Because they've gone to their discard, if they've drawn their Thassa's Oracle, they can discard their Thassa's Oracle in addition to discarding the World Spine Worm, and then they can go evoke a bunch of Endurances and then Court of Calling to put Thassa's Oracle into play to win the game. Is that it? And then you draw your deck too with the Griselbrand, and so you draw with the Griselbrand trigger on the stack. I think that's it. I might be misremembering. Again, it's a little bit convoluted, of course. 3/1 drop. I got cyberbullied into dropping. I got mind tricked, but it worked out because I think we're gonna trophy anyways. EOT Factor Fiction. You lose with the 10 months. Thank you so much. And Adam Rafflebaum with the 26. Hope you're doing well also. So that just resolved. They did put it on the bottom, which is interesting. Do I tap out for Scion of Draco? I mean, my opponent has a Neoform, so the likelihood that their other 2 cards are Rider, double green card. I guess maybe it's not that high because they just would have kept Rider on top for sure, so they'd have the double green card, but seems probably worth playing around. So they grab a Guttural Response. I mean, their hand still has to be perfect for them to even use. They have to have land, green card, Rider, Neoform. So, and I want to get my hand kind of emptier for the Riddler. Oh, great. I miscounted. I miscounted. Thankfully, I miscounted that they needed one more card for that, and they don't wait for the mana to cast the guttural response, and we win. So thanks, Roro, for cyberbullying me into. I'm just teasing about the cyberbully, of course, into dropping. We got a trophy after all. I did a Blink version, no Keruga, just Helga, Riddlers, and the Elementals Ephemerate. I think, yeah, you could also play Birthing Ritual in that build. Keruga is also really, really strong, of course. So, I don't know. Do we... I guess I'll think about it. I probably will play the Rakdos Sacrifice deck in the challenge tomorrow instead of playing this one. But it's good to know this one's still viable. Felt really good all day. Okay, let's find somebody to raid. Good stream.